Hello there, it's Dustin with Prospect Bomb, a company that's designed and driven to help dealerships create more leads and get more gross. We do that through a variety of ways, one of which is creating high quality websites that are designed as landing pages for each of your salespeople. We also incorporate high quality video as well as mobile applications and social media integration to help you capture more leads, build those customers based on relationships rather than price, and help drive more traffic to your store. One of the other things that we do, or one of the other things that we offer, is we've partnered with DealerRadar.com to bring you a call tracking program that helps you track your return on investment through different advertising streams. It also helps you record, or it records every phone call, which helps you improve your staff's phone skills and make sure that you capitalize on each of those opportunities. And it also features a missed call alert. So we're here with Chase Powelson today from DealerRadar.com to tell us a little bit more about it. Chase, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me here. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit more about DealerRadar.com, kind of how it came about, some of the challenges that dealerships face when it comes to, performing well on the phone and those kinds of things.
We've noticed a lot of times as you call into dealerships that one of the biggest things, the art of phone sales is kind of a dead art nowadays. As far as the phone training is concerned, we've heard recordings where they weren't sure of inventory, they weren't sure of pricing, they weren't sure of incentives, all of those different questions that customers are going to be asking, and ultimately that starts your sale off on maybe a lack of trust, or the customer reason of that is you don't know what you're talking about. Another big thing we've noticed is dealerships have a lot of phone calls coming in on a daily basis at all hours of the day, and a lot of those phone calls are just getting missed completely. We've seen roughly 42% of these calls coming in are just missed completely. Those are customers that are moving on to the next dealership that's going to have another car that they're interested in.
Right, very good. Yeah, I remember when I was a team leader, we used to listen to a lot of the phone calls that we were able to record, and it definitely there was some times when we could certainly improve on those phone calls, and some missed opportunities there. So if we take an average of probably about $2,000, gross profit per car deal, is we'll just use that as kind of an average number. What that means is if a dealership misses one of those calls like you talk about, that's potentially $2,000 gone
right out the door.
And that doesn't even take into account the repeat business that would come from that customer as you develop that relationship with them. They buy their second vehicle, or a couple of years later they come and trade that one back in, and it certainly doesn't account for any referral business that you would get if you were to show that customer a great experience and give them a great experience. They're going to send their friends and family to you. So that one missed call could potentially cost you a lot more than just that one car deal. Mm-hmm. It could cost you thousands upon thousands of potential gross profits. So it's definitely important to make sure that you capture those calls. Now, I'm sure dealerships do everything that they can in terms of receptionists and multiple phone lines and having a BDC and internet department to capture all of those incoming calls. But there's still times when the dealership is busy, or you're getting a lot of call traffic, and you may have the potential of kind of missing some of those phone calls. So what does Dealer Radar provide in order to kind of facilitate or help with that?
We provide great data that's going to help justify your investments and your costs. If we're putting a sale at $2,000 as an average sale, if you're missing 42% of your calls, which is what we found most of the dealerships to be, first of all, it can help justify adding another person to take phone calls. If that one person picks up that one extra car deal, you've just paid for them at their whatever $8-9 an hour desk job, and then you can increase your profit from there. Another nice program that we've got is a texting system. You can set it up where your team leaders, your sales managers, whoever you want, can receive a text within 10 seconds of that missed call. And what that'll do is it'll give you the opportunity to capitalize and give that customer a call right back and say, hey, sorry, we missed your call, what can we do for you? I know most of the salesmen are just going to be, taking those leads as much as they can, knowing that, they can capitalize and try and get business, other than just sitting around waiting for us to come through.
Right. So you can set it up so that a sales manager that's on duty at the time, or a team leader, like you said, or BDC manager, something like that, can receive a text message within 10 seconds of a missed call.
Certainly.
So, if you think about what a customer is going to be doing, most customers are shopping online before they call your dealership. They're narrowing things down in terms of, they've probably got a list, and they've probably got a few vehicles that they want to call on. What that means is that, one, that call is pretty important because they've already gone through and done most of their research, and they're calling your dealership with a specific question, or wanting to progress their purchase process. Mm-hmm. So missing it is just right off the bat, the potential for costing yourself a customer that's actually pretty hot. Most people don't just call a dealership saying, "Hey, I just was curious about this vehicle." They're doing that research online beforehand, and then when they're making that call, they're probably pretty close to buying. Yeah. So very important to capture every phone call that you possibly can. But the other thing is when a customer calls a dealership, take for example a 2010 Toyota Camry. How many of those are you going to find, on the market in any given area? There's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of them, and so they're pretty easy to find. So what happens is those customers are calling. If they call your dealership and you don't answer that phone call, they're going to go right down to the next car on their list, because chances are they've got 2 or 3 that they may be looking for. So missing those calls is definitely going to cost you. But if you can send a text message to the sales manager, who can then have a salesperson or somebody who's available call that customer right back and say, "Sorry, we missed your call. What can we do for you? Your business is very important to us." You're going to pick up a lot of those, missed opportunities. And, if you put yourself in the customer's shoes, if you get a call back from a dealership like that, that goes a long way, at least in my book. Yeah. That really shows me that they want my business and that they value me as a customer. So I'd probably be more inclined to go back and work with that dealership than even calling some of the next cars on that list. So
exactly. And it's such a short window of opportunity. I know as I've looked for cars, helped friends look for cars, go through the local classifieds and print off 10 sheets of paper, and
sure,
you're just, whoever answers first is who's getting my business, kind of a thing.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and that kind of goes into, how your people are answering the phones, how they're handling themselves on the phones, those kinds of things. One of the things we like to kind of throw out there with Prospect Bomb a little bit is people can get a car anywhere. Mm-hmm. They can't get you anywhere. And that experience that you're going to create for them is definitely important and part of that. And so that kind of leads us into, the recording aspect of the call tracking system, the DealerRater call tracking system. All the phone calls are recorded, correct?
Yes, they are. All of the phone calls are recorded and listened to by our own staff. I know it's hard as sales managers. They've got 100 different things. They're trying to work different car deals. They've got, the owner of the store asking why stuff isn't happening. There's, everywhere.
Yeah.
So having those live people is crucial to be able to hear those calls, and we can put those reports together and, put down as your internet sales department or your salesman, whoever is taking these calls. We can give you a breakdown of each person, where they seem to be missing their mark. A lot of salesmen I know get excited and forget to ask for a phone number, and now they don't have a way to get a hold of these guys anymore. So we can break down and say, John every single time forgets to get contact information, or forgets to get this, or forgets to, ask the 3 features they love about or want about a car. And as you're getting that data, you can make decisions to, revamp your training or pull them aside, individually, and go over that so that you can ultimately capitalize on later phone calls.
And that's huge. And I do remember as a team leader, sales manager, even just as a salesperson, you're busy, you're slammed. Mm-hmm. And sales managers, they don't have time to go through and listen to each and every phone call. I remember times when we would try to listen to a few just when we had a break. But that takes some time. And so it's definitely a bonus to have somebody that's listening to those phone calls that come in, and also being able to pull that data out there. Every dealership is a little bit different. They do things a little bit different in terms of how they're handling their inbound phone calls, those kinds of things. Some of them will have a receptionist that transfers the call to a salesperson. Some of them will use a BDC or an internet department that, is taking all of the inbound calls. And it's definitely important to be able to, take that information and train and get better. We did a ton of training, and that's definitely important, and we would highly recommend that, because that's how you get better, is analyzing yourself, critiquing yourself essentially, and improving. It's important to have that information in terms of who's getting those phone calls and whether they're doing what they should be doing in terms of getting the contact information, asking the questions to the customer, finding out what the customer wants to do, how good they are at setting an appointment, and so on. And so then that does, like you say, allow you to, take that information, pull somebody aside, do some one-on-one training with them to help them get better. And the goal is, I know in dealerships there's a lot of competition a lot of the times between people, which can be kind of fun and those kinds of things. But, the goal is not necessarily to use this as a tool to discipline people. It's to use it as a tool to get better and to improve. And so taking salesperson A and pitting him against salesperson B, isn't necessarily, how the best way of doing it. But, you could certainly have some fun with some competition and some spiffs if you wanted to. But the idea is that you could take salesperson A for the month of June and see how well he improves in the month of July, and then again in August, and so on and so forth. And so you can, really use that to kind of help people grow and improve their phone skills, which is going to help you, improve your appointment, improve your appointment to your lead to appointment ratio, as well as your shown appointment ratio, and then ultimately your closing ratios and your sales. You want each one of those phone calls to lead to a sale, and of course you've got to set an appointment and get the customer's contact information and make sure that you're creating value for that customer. So in terms of the tracking ability with your return on investment, you had mentioned that you're able to have additional phone lines, different things like that can be used on different advertising streams, so that you can find out where you're getting the best return.
What we've got is a dynamic, what is called as a dynamic number insertion. So you can take from your different advertising streams, whether the local online classifieds or whatever these different channels are, and each channel can have their own phone number assigned to it. And what's nice with the dynamic number insertion is if they come in off of your online classified ad, and they click over to your home page and they're looking at different inventory, maybe they see something else they like or whatever. What's nice is as it comes over to your home page, it's actually going to switch out your phone number that would otherwise be there and put that dynamic number in there, which is going to help you to see what is working and what isn't, whether it's coming in from an Auto Trader or Yelp or Yellow Pages, whatever. We can assign these individual numbers, and then ultimately what that's going to do is give you the most data possible to drive your marketing decisions. If you can see one channel is maybe lacking in their conversion, where another is obviously doing a lot better, you can scale one back and scale the other one up to ultimately increase your quality leads.
Excellent. So that's very nice. So if, like you said, somebody's on Auto Trader and then they switch over to your website, you're not going to muddle that data where you think that your website is the thing that's generating all those leads, when really some of that outside advertising is what's bringing those leads to your website. Exactly. You can still track that and make sure that you're spending your advertising dollars and your marketing dollars where you're getting the best results.
Yeah, and another nice thing with tying back to the live phone live listening with our staff is if they somehow stumble across a different number, but then our staff hears in the phone call, oh yeah, I saw your ad in Auto Trader, the staff will actually reassign that phone call to that specific stream, so that you're, again, like you say, not modeling up your data.
Right.
And that way you can have as pure of data as possible.
Right. Excellent. Yes, tracking, as you guys all know, is so important to know exactly what's going on with both your salespeople and your people answering the phones, making sure that they're doing the best that they possibly can, as well as knowing exactly where your returns are coming from and where you're generating the most leads. So it's a huge benefit to to a dealership. And I remember back in the day, I mean, we had the ability to ask customers where they'd heard about us. Our CRM had those little check boxes that we could put in, but we never used it. you know,
Yeah.
and that's such good, valuable information in terms of, you know, helping management know where to advertise, which in turn helps the salespeople because they're going to get more business because of that. So,
Exactly.
you know, definitely very, very good. Let me go back real quick to those listeners. These are people who are trained. They're trained to listen to specific things. Obviously, every dealership is going to be a little bit different, and they're going to want to pull different data out of those phone calls. You know, within their process, if that makes sense. You know,
Yep.
some, you know, may push, you know, very hard for an appointment. Some, you know, may want to give pricing out over the phone. Some may not want to give pricing out over the phone. So whatever the dealership's preference is in terms of how they'd like to handle those phone calls, this has the ability to adjust to that. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's what's so nice about the live people is we can cater that data exactly the way you want. A lot of other tracking systems end up using different data mining and scraping programs to try and have a computer listen to the phone call and pick out those keywords and try and patch together some sort of a coherent report. Where having the live person, you don't have to worry about issues in computer programming, or, you know, maybe their voice isn't as clear over the phone. Whatever the case is,
Right.
you can have a live person that's going to be able to go through and say, okay, this dealership wants to hear for these things or listen for these things, and pick out that individual data and give that to you in a nice, neat report. And you can know that your accuracy is going to be a whole lot better.
Right. Right. Excellent. And accuracy is definitely important in terms of that. Great. So yeah, I know that, like I said, when I was a team leader, it was definitely important to know exactly what my guys needed in order to improve. And this obviously gives you that in terms of the phone calls. So very good. So with that missed call alert feature, making sure that you never miss a phone call, even during your busy times, the times when maybe the receptionist has to run to the bathroom, you know, or maybe you've got 5 guys in your BDC and you're getting 10 phone calls, you know, a day because your advertising is working, or 10 phone calls all at the same time because your advertising is working.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that you never miss those calls so that sales manager that's on duty can get those texts. You missed a call this customer back. They can assign that to, you know, somebody who's available and make sure that you capitalize on those opportunities. Being able to record all the phone calls is huge, you know, knowing that you can improve and train and grow and get better, and make sure that when people do call your dealership, that you're actually turning those customers into sales. You know, it's great to know where your leads are coming from. So the tracking feature is fantastic. You know, being able to know, okay, we've spent this much on this ad and it brought in, you know, X amount of calls. So let's keep doing that. This other ad, you know, didn't bring in, you know, much action, those kinds of things. That's huge. But almost just as important, or even maybe more important, is making sure that your people are handling that traffic the right way.
Exactly.
You know, it's one thing that high turnover at a dealership is definitely a hard thing because you end up with, you know, newbie sales guys who maybe aren't as experienced. They're the ones out taking the ups because they don't have the database of customers to pull from. And, you know, the struggle is if they're not handling those leads or those customers the right way, it could cost you business. Same thing on the phone. If you have people calling your dealership, those people are ready to buy a car. They're ready to come in. They've already done their research and they've narrowed it down. And so you want to make sure that make sure you get that call or are able to call the customer back, and make sure that you're putting every effort and your best foot forward with that customer while they're on the phone to make sure that you get them in and give them the best experience that you can possibly give them so that you get their repeat and their referral business.
Exactly.
So excellent. Well, it sounds like a very good system. We're definitely proud to bring it to you guys as part of the Prospect Bomb system. You can certainly get more information specifically from Chase at dealerradar.com, or you can certainly work with us at Prospect Bomb, which is prospectbomb.com, or you can call or text me directly at 801-319-3331. And we would definitely love to see if any of you guys would like more information. It's a great program and it definitely works and helps you manage your return on investment and improve and get better. So anything you'd like to say in conclusion?
It's a great system. You know, we love kind kind of using the line of let the data drive the decisions and not so much the emotions. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to increase your profitability and lower your expenses, and this is one of those one of the key systems that's going to help not only let you see where you're at, but then justify your marketing decisions 2 months, 3 months, a year from now, and ultimately be able to make everyone more profitable and ultimately happier.
I like that. Let the data drive the decisions, not the emotions.
Exactly.
Kind of like, was it Billy Bean? Same kind of a concept there.
Mm-hmm.
Using data and analytics to make sure that you're making the best decisions based on actual, real results.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Chase, again, thank you very much. Would love to help any of you guys that would like to utilize this system and the Prospect Bomb system as well. Check out dealerradar.com and prospectbomb.com. And remember, be different, be better.